Good morning all. I am Dr. M. Sangeeta from Computer Science Department and my course name is Java Programming. The topic is JDBC. From this JDBC, you will see the introduction, architecture, JDBC ODBC relationship, advantages, types of JDBC drivers and JDBC components. So, what do you mean by JDBC? So, JDBC means Java Database Connectivity. So, why we have to use this JDBC means it enables the Java applications to connect to any database. The Java applications will be connected to the database. Using this JDBC connectivity, we have to connect our Java applications to a database, any type of databases. So it provides various objects for executing SQL statements and the stored procedures. The next one is the architecture. JDBC is a software which acts as an interface between the application and the database. So depending on the application, we have to choose any type of databases. That application and database will be connected using the JDBC. So this is the architecture diagram for JDBC. The first level is the Java application, then the final is the databases. So these applications and the databases will be connected through the drivers. So the driver manager's work is to choose the particular driver. If we choose an Oracle databases means the JDBC driver, Oracle JDBC driver will be chosen by the JDBC driver manager. So JDBC driver manager's work is to choose the particular driver for a particular databases. So this is the architecture diagram for JDBC. The next one is JDBC ODBC relations. So before we invent the JDBC, we use only the ODBC or Open Database Connectivity. So after the invention of Java, they created a particular tool, Java based tool as a JDBC. So JDBC is a Java based tool used to connect Java applications with the relational databases and was created at the Sun microsystem. So JDBC is modeled after the ODBC. So previously they invented ODBC, that is the Open Database Connectivity. After that they designed the JDBC particularly for the Java applications. So this JDBC is originally designed by the Microsoft, but the ODBC is based on the C languages. The next one is advantages. So why we have to use the JDBC over the ODBC? So ODBC is a convenient tool where we have to connect an application to the database. Then why we have to move to the JDBC means, so the main advantage is that JDBC API provides a direct means of data access for platform independent applications. So that is the main advantage of using the JDBC. While using an ODBC, it is not possible to it is a platform dependent process while using an ODBC. But if we use an JDBC, it is a platform independent one. If we create an application in some other OS, then we have to run and execute it, then connected our database in some other platform means it is possible to connect our application to the database. It is possible. That's why we have to move from ODBC to the JDBC. So through the drivers only we have to connect our applications to the databases. So that drivers will be classified into 4 types. The first one is JDBC ODBC bridge driver. So this is the initial bridge driver where they have to invented initially. Then second one is native API. This is a partial Java driver. The coding what we have to create for that native API is partially a Java. The next one is JDBC net driver. This is fully created for a Java things. So fully Java driver is JDBC net driver. The final one is native protocol driver. This is a fully Java driver. Let's see one by one. The first one is JDBC ODBC bridge driver. So these drivers provide JDBC access via ODBC drivers. So initially they doesn't create a JDBC driver with alone. They used the JDBC driver. Through the JDBC driver only they have to connect our through the ODBC driver only they have to connect the JDBC. So this is now discouraged because Oracle does not support the JDBC ODBC bridge from Java 8. So some type of databases will not be support these type of drivers, JDBC ODBC bridge drivers. Nowadays we doesn't use these type of driver. JDBC ODBC bridge drivers is not used for the Oracle database platform. The second one is native API driver, partially as a Java driver. This type of drivers uses the client-side libraries of the databases. The driver converts the JDBC method calls into native calls of the database API. It is not written entirely in Java. It is partially in Java. This is the next invention of the JDBC ODBC driver, bridge driver. After that they invent the native API driver. The third one is JDBC net driver. This driver translates the JDBC calls into database independent net protocol. So it is fully used for a fully written for a Java. The final one is native protocol driver. This converts the JDBC calls directly into the vendor specific database protocol. This is the best solution for the internet processes, internet accesses. So nowadays these native protocol drivers will be used. So these above three are rarely used. This is among the four drivers, this is the best driver where we have to connect our applications to the databases. The next topic is JDBC components. The first one is application. The user application invokes JDBC methods to send SQL statements to the database and retrieve results. So the user application invokes the JDBC method to send SQL statements to the database and retrieve results. It performs the following task. So it requires a connection with the data source, send SQL statements to the data source, defining storage areas and data types for the result sets, request results, process errors, control transaction, that is to save our applications, then close the connection. These are all the steps what we have to done in the application. First they require connection, and through the connection they send the SQL statements, then in that they define the storages in the databases, then it requests the result. After they get the result, they check the error. If it is correct means they save the data, and finally they close the connection. The next one is driver manager. Its main purpose, the main purpose of driver manager is to choose the particular drivers. We already know that there are four type of drivers are there for the databases, chosen databases. So the driver manager's work is to choose the particular driver for that particular databases. Here also they perform some tasks. First to locate a driver for a particular databases, then process JDBC initialization calls, then provide entry points to JDBC functions for each specific driver. So these are all the steps what we have done in the driver manager. The next one is driver. The driver processes JDBC method invocations, sends SQL statements to a specific data source, and return the results to the particular application. This is the main work of that particular driver. So first step is to establish connection to the data source, that is called the databases. First connect the databases, then send requests to the databases, then return results from that particular database to the user application. Then if there is any occur means correct that particular error. The next last step is data source. Data source is otherwise called as a database. This is the place where we have to store our data. So it is associated with the parameters like any type of operating system, databases, DBMS. So any type of databases are present, that is called as a data source. The next one is interfaces and classes. The interfaces means the communicator between the applications and the database. That is called as an interface. So in that interfaces and classes, so many topics are the driver interfaces, connection interfaces, statement interfaces, prepared statement interfaces, then callable statement interface, result set interface, result set metadata interface, database metadata interface, and row set interface. These are all the interfaces that are all present in the JDBC. The first one is driver interface. So this driver interface provides various methods for getting information about the current database. The coding for that particular driver interfaces is connection, connect, string, then that URL for that JDBC, properties information. So this method takes an URL string to locate and access the database along with the username and the password. The second one is connection interface. So using this connection interface, we connect the Java application with the databases. This is the coding for that particular connection interface. Connection con equal to driver manager dot get connection. Inside that coding, we represent the path for that particular database. Then the next string is the admin and 123. This is the username and password for that particular database. This is the coding for connecting the interface for the driver manager and the database. The next one is statement. The statement object is used to execute SQL statements in the databases. So the coding for that statement object is statement s equal to con dot create statement. The next one is result set interface. The object of this interface is used to get the information from the SQL select statement. So the coding for the result set is result set r equal to s dot execute query. Then inside the query we represent select star from student. So we have to get all the informations from the student table. There are four main steps for querying the database with the JDBC. First is to establish the database connection. Second is to execute the query, then process the result, then close the connection. These are all the main steps what we have to follow for querying the database with the JDBC. Then creating ODBC data source. First click the start menu in the in our system. First click the start menu and then click the control panel. In that control panel we double click the administrative tools. Then in that administrative tools double click the data source tool, that is called as a ODBC. So the ODBC source administrator dialog box will appear. Then inside that we have to click the user DSN, system DSN or file DSN. Depending on our application, we have to choose any type of databases, user, the system or file, any type of connectivity we have to choose. So then the next step is to click add. So the driver what we have to selected for the databases, what we have to select the user DSN or system DSN or file DSN. So this driver will select that what we have to use and then click that particular database. That is the ODBC connection. So these are all the steps what we have to create an ODBC data source. That is our application. The Java applications will be connected to an databases through the ODBC. Means we have to follow these steps. So this is an example program. How we have to connect, connect our program applications to the databases. These are all the steps that we have to follow. If there is any query and updations in that database, means these are all the steps that we have to use to create our program. Okay, thank you.